And Annie Machon, a former MI5 agent, joins me now live to talk about the similarities between the attacks in Boston and London. Annie, hello there. So the rhetoric sounds pretty much the same. Do you have a feeling of déjà vu here?
Somewhat, yes. And I don't think this problem is going to go away. I think that the reported statement by one of the attackers in London about an eye for an eye and everything is definitely going to be a motivation. And these sort of individualistic lone wolf style attacks, which don't require great planning, don't require some sort of specialist equipment or anything, will become perhaps one of the main ways that people can make a protest. And it's a horrific attack, there is no doubt about it, and my heart goes out to the family of the victim. But what we're looking at is also an angry voice yelling out from North Africa, from the Middle East, from Central Asia, from all the peoples that have been brutalized by the interventionist policies of the US, of the UK, of NATO, of France. I mean, not just Iraq and Afghanistan, but Libya and Mali and Somalia and Yemen. And of course, what we're looking at is whole countries that have been decimated now by the CIA kill lists, which are presidentially approved in the US every week, and also drone strikes, which are not targeted. They take out whole villages and communities and wedding parties even. So, of course, there's going to be anger.
Sure, and we report both suspects were part of an earlier police investigation. Why was it still impossible to prevent the attack?
It's very difficult because if you're investigating certain key people when you're on the inside, then you'll be doing in-depth investigations into those key targets that you think might be most dangerous. You'll be aware of the networks around them. You'll be picking up the communications and the social networks and everything. But unless someone seems to be indicating that they might be a bit about to tip over into violence, you might not see them as key people to focus on and to deploy what are quite limited resources quite often. So it's very easy for people to slip under the radar that way. I should imagine there's probably also a bit of a scrabble within MI5 at the moment in the UK Domestic Security Service, to ensure that they didn't miss any key information that could have prevented this, because then, of course, they will be blamed for it.
Yeah, and also talking about Britain's foreign policies, will the incident make Britain reconsider what it does abroad?
One would hope so, but I think it's unlikely. I suppose it was heartening today to see that the British government and the British Prime Minister come out and say he's not going to make any knee-jerk security reactions. So he's not going to rush ahead with some sort of data mining or endemic surveillance type measures. However, I think it's slightly disingenuous that the British government is not recognising the very harmful impact that its foreign policy is having across the Middle East and Central Asia. I mean, particularly one of the things that is of concern to the UK security services is the potentiality of British people, young men, going over to fight in Syria, be radicalised and try and rebel against the Assad regime. Then, of course, they can come back to the UK and import those skills they've learned. So this is seen as a threat by the security services on one side. On the other, of course, we're looking at the side where MI6 and the British government is now pushing to arm and help those rebels still further. So they're sort of producing the problem they're trying to fight.
All right. Annie Machon, former MI5 agent. Annie, thank you very much indeed for your insight.